Greetings to Madam. We are from Group 1A. My name is Kwei Hing, and together with me we have Isa and Amirul. We would like to present the second part of our topic, which is game theory. Let's begin with the payoff matrix. Payoff matrix can be referred to a way to express the result of players' choices in a game. Payoff matrix is an important tool in game theory because it summarizes the necessary information and helps us to determine the dominant strategy and Nash equilibrium in a game. Okay, now let's go through by example. In the model of duopoly, there are two firms, firm X and firm Y, who are selling the same product. And they have two strategies for each firm, where either to set low price for their product or set high price for their product. And each strategy by firm X can relate with each of firm Y's strategies. For example, if both firm X and firm Y choose low price, then both of them could obtain the possible outcome, which is, for example, 10,000 ringgit. The four possible outcomes from the simple game are illustrated by the payoff matrix in the following table.
Dominant strategy. What is dominant strategy? In game theory, a dominant strategy is the course of action that results in the highest payoff for a player, regardless of what the other player does. Not all players in all games have dominant strategies, but when they do, they can blindly follow them. It is because a dominant strategy is the optimal strategy unconditionally. Example, there is no dependence on the strategy the other player chooses. Next example, let's consider two firms, A and B, who have appointed an arbitrator to resolve a contractual dispute of 100 million. If neither firm hire a lawyer, the expected payoff is 50 million each. If firm A hires a lawyer but firm B doesn't, the payoff to A increases to 70 million and that of B reduced to 25 million. Similarly, if firm B hires a lawyer but firm A doesn't, firm B gets 70 million and firm A got 25 million. If both firms hire a lawyer, they each get 55 million. The following payoff matrix lay out game. The strategies of firm A are listed in row and those of firm B are listed in columns. The payoff to the left of the comma belong to firm A and those in blue to the right accrue to firm B. Finding a dominant strategy for firm A involves the following step. Begins with select the first strategy of the opponent. Example, firm B hiring a lawyer. Look inside the hire a lawyer column for the firm A payoff and see which row has the higher payoff. In this example, it is 45. Next, place a check mark against a higher payoff or draw an arrow from lower payoff towards higher payoff. Then, select the second strategy of firm B, example, not hiring a lawyer. Looking inside the no-lawyer column, compare the red payoff. Select the higher payoff, example 70, and place a check mark against it or draw an arrow from lower payoff towards higher payoff. And lastly, if both check marks appear in the same row, the row represents the dominant strategy of the row player. Example, firm A. In this case, hiring a lawyer is the dominant strategy. Equilibrium in dominant strategies. Hiring a lawyer is a dominant strategy for firm A because if firm B hires a lawyer, it is better to hire a lawyer and get 45 million instead of not hiring and getting only 25 million. If firm B doesn't hire a lawyer, it is better for firm A to hire a lawyer and get 70 million instead of only 25 million. Using the step above, we can find out the hiring a lawyer is also a dominant strategy for firm B. It's followed that both firms will follow their dominant strategies and hire a lawyer. Even though they will have to share 10 million of their payoff with the lawyer, it is the best strategy to adopt and no firm has any incentive to deviate from it. In other words, existence of dominant strategies for all players result in an equilibrium, which is called equilibrium in dominant strategies.
Alright, now we continue with Nash Equilibrium. Nash Equilibrium is a set of strategies such that when all other players use these strategies, no player can obtain a higher payoff by choosing a different strategy. Now we look at the example from the Payoff Matrix just now. From this Payoff Matrix, let us identify what strategy should a firm choose based on the strategies from the another firm. We begin with the decision from firm X based on the strategy from firm Y. If firm Y choose low price, then firm X should choose low price as well, since firm X could obtain a higher possible outcome compared to he choose high price. If firm Y choose high price, then firm X will choose low price to obtain higher outcome. Now, we switch to the decision from firm Y based on the strategies by firm X. If firm X choose low price, then firm Y will also choose low price to obtain a higher outcome. While if firm X choose high price, then firm Y choose high price as well. From this, we can know that the Nash equilibrium occurs when both firm X and firm Y choose low price at Payoff Matrix of 2010.
Now, let's continue with prisoner's dilemma. What is prisoner's dilemma? The prisoner's dilemma is a decision analysis conundrum when two people acting in their own self-interest do not result in the best result. In other words, a prisoner's dilemma is a situation where individual decision makers always have an incentive to choose in a way that create a less than optimal outcome for the individuals as a group. Now, let's understand more about the prisoner's dilemma. The typical prisoner's dilemma is set up in such a way that both parties choose to protect themselves at the expense of the other participant. The prisoner's dilemma presents a situation where two parties, separated and unable to communicate, must each choose between cooperating with the other or not. The highest reward for each party occurs when both parties choose to cooperate. The prisoner's dilemma demonstration. Superficially, the analysis is very simple. Although A cannot be sure what B will do, he knows that he does best to confess when B confesses, and also when B remains silent, he serves no time rather than a year. B will reach the same conclusion, so the solution would seem to be that each prisoner does best to confess and go to jail for 5 years. The example of prisoner's dilemma is tragedy of the common. Tragedy of the common is theoretical problem in economics that propose every individual has an incentive to consume resource, but at the expense of every individual. There's no way to exclude anyone from consuming. Can the prisoner's dilemma be useful to society? Solution to prisoner's dilemma focus on overcoming individual incentive in favor of the common good. In the real world, most economic and other human interaction are repeated more than once. This allows parties to choose strategy that reward cooperation or punish defection over time.